I ultimately made my ex pay a stunning price for what he did. And it cost me just £8.50. But it all started with him cheating. And stealing £5,000 of my money. When I was at uni, I started dating a guy I'll call Leo. At first, he was wonderful. He seemed dedicated to his studies. Was fun to be around. Attentive. And worked hard at his job. But then, slowly, everything began to unravel. He started skipping classes. And then just stopped going altogether. The worst part was his total refusal to help around the house. He never washed a dish, cleaned up, or did laundry, absolutely nothing. It got so bad he was even fired from his job for all the no-shows. All he seemed to care about was sitting at home playing his Xbox or scrolling through forums online. This shift left me to pick up the slack. I was taking on extra shifts at my own job. Sometimes double or even triple shifts. All while trying to keep up with my own classes and studies. I found out later this was just his pattern. He'd throw himself into something new with incredible dedication. But once the novelty wore off, he'd get bored and slide back into his old, lazy habits before finding a new passion to repeat the cycle. I know I should have ended it much sooner. But I kept hoping he would snap out of it. Telling myself it was just exam stress. I desperately wanted things to go back to how they were at the beginning. But that wasn't going to happen. The final straw came when I caught him cheating. And I immediately threw him out. With all the stress. It wasn't until the next day that I remembered our joint savings account. There was a little over £5,000 in there. Aside from a few hundred he'd put in. The vast majority of it was money I had painstakingly saved. I logged in, my heart pounding, and saw it, the balance was zero. He had cleaned out the entire account. This revealed Leo's greatest fatal flaw, a profound selfishness that allowed him to betray and steal without a second thought. A trait that would ultimately seal his fate. He had taken my money and moved straight into a new flat with the other woman. I immediately called the bank. But they told me there was nothing they could do. Since he was an authorized person on the account, it wasn't their problem. I then contacted the police, hoping for justice. But they gave me the same line. Because it was a joint account. No crime had been committed in their eyes. They suggested civil court but warned that the legal fees would likely cost more than the £5,000 I was trying to get back. My ex had effectively stolen £5,000 from me. And there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. I felt like a complete idiot. My anger only grew when I saw him on those same forums, boasting about all his new gadgets, new game consoles, a new TV, and more. All of it bought with my money. At that moment, I learned a hard lesson that one commenter later pointed out: never open a joint account unless you are married. It's just too easy for one person to cut and run with no legal recourse. While marriage doesn't stop someone from cleaning out an account, it can at least be brought up in divorce proceedings. I'm not normally a vengeful person. But I had never wanted revenge as badly as I did then. And I knew exactly how I was going to get it. During my summers as a student, I had tempered to help pay for my studies. And one of those jobs was at a debt collection agency. The work was as awful as you can imagine. But the pay was great. And it was only temporary. My ex, Leo, had been dodging debts for years and was bizarrely proud of it. He was especially proud that his debt was just a few months away from becoming statute barred. For those who don't know, in the UK, creditors generally have 6 years to legally pursue a debt. After that, it becomes statute barred. The money is still technically owed, but they can no longer use legal means, like bailiffs, to collect it. What many people don't realize, however, is that making any payment on that debt, no matter how small, resets that 6-year clock completely. In the past, I had used my insider knowledge to help him avoid his creditors. Now, I would use that same knowledge to hit him where it truly hurt. Towards the end of our relationship, I was managing everything, including his debt paperwork. So I had all the details I needed. I called up his creditors. I was honest with them, stating I was a friend calling to make a payment on his behalf, as pretending to be him would have been a major legal misstep. While they couldn't disclose any of his account details to me, they were more than happy to accept a payment. I paid the absolute minimum I could on each of his outstanding debts. For most, it was about £1, but one required a minimum payment of £1.50. Leo had no idea, but that £8.50 payment, less than the cost of a movie ticket, had just restarted the 6-year clock on his entire financial doom. It was the best £8.50 I have ever spent. As a final touch, I gave the agencies his new address and contact details. And for good measure, his parents' address too. Having worked in the business, I knew they wouldn't officially change the address on the account based on my word alone, but they would add it to their internal notes. They have systems to cross-reference names and addresses. So if they got a hit confirming he lived there, they would update his file. The trap was set. All I had to do was wait. A few months went by. And then, it happened. His forum post shifted from arrogant boasts about his new gaming PC to sheer panic about an impending court date. Then, he had the absolute gall to call me, begging for my advice. I told him exactly where to go. When he realized I wouldn't help, he turned to his forum friends for advice. One of them gave him the worst possible advice. They told him not to show up for the court date, claiming they couldn't prosecute him if he wasn't there. This was 100% false and one of the worst things you can do, especially in civil court. In that moment, he sealed his own fate, foolishly trusting a stranger online over facing his responsibilities. This was getting better and better. The court date came and went. And true to his terrible advice, Leo was a no-show. A few weeks later, the ultimate payoff arrived. My ex posted new photos on the forums, pictures of his completely empty flat. Bailiffs had paid him a visit and had legally cleaned him out, taking every single one of his shiny new gadgets and toys that he had bought with my money. On top of losing all his possessions, he was hit with several county court judgments, or CCJs. These are a very big deal in the UK and can absolutely destroy your credit history for years. With CCJs on his record, he would find it nearly impossible to get any kind of credit, including a mortgage, and would struggle even to open a normal bank account. It also makes renting a flat incredibly difficult, as most landlords view tenants with CCJs as a high risk. As a bonus, any hope of a career in the financial sector was now completely gone. That business degree he was supposedly pursuing? The CCJs would make it extremely difficult for him to get any high-level managerial position, which often requires credit checks. Now that he was broke and all his nice things were gone, his side chick left him. I never saw a penny of my £5. 000 again. But seeing everything he bought with those ill-gotten gains get stripped away from him was a satisfaction money can't buy. I just hope that £5,000 was worth it in the end. For anyone wondering, he started uni late at 25 after a previous failed attempt at 18. His parents had funded his new business degree with the hope he'd become an entrepreneur. And as for our age gap, I had deferred my own uni start by a few years to travel. So I was 22 and he was 26 when we started dating. This story is a perfect example that the most effective revenge is often the one that is cold, calculated, and perfectly legal. My ex learned the hard way that your past eventually catches up to you. So what do you think? Was this the perfect revenge? Or would you have kept fighting to get the money back, no matter what it cost? Let us know in the comments below.